Yeah, that's right, Alex. I think American policy makers have, for their own reason, I don't know, I have not been able to fathom that as yet, but they have allowed the old British, what would we say, mischievous mind to lead American policy making by the nose. And I can tell you, I know them, I have worked with them, I did my staff course there in Camberley in the UK, and I know them inside out. They are extremely jealous of America. They do not want to see America flourish. Inside their heart, they want to pull their leg. They make fool of them, and they talk about it. They have coined jokes for the Americans. So this has to be done away with. That is fundamental. The other power, which for its own reason, and those are very mischievous reasons, that is Israel. And Israel now is joined in by the Indians, unfortunately. So together they form the club. That club is, you can call it the extra or ultra imperial club. This imperial club is responsible for a lot of problems in the world, and American people are exploited. They are the most innocent people on God's earth, but they are exploited to the hilt for that implementation of their dark impulse and their dark agenda, which is only a handful of people. There is a clique only, in my assessment, who are indulging in this exercise.
General, let's get into WikiLeaks. I noticed day one that what the media focused on out of 90+ thousand documents were documents, battlefield reports, as you said, fed by private contractors, classically unreliable, completely unreliable. It's like going to the devil, for the truth. And it all points at Pakistan. It all points at you. It says that Hamid Gul, here's the quote, is quarterbacking, this is the Washington Post, is quarterbacking direct attacks against U.S. forces in Afghanistan and Pakistan.
This is diabolical nonsense. And if this is the kind of intelligence that America is basing its policies on in this region, then God help America. Because this is totally false, it's fabricated, and I tell you who are the elements involved in it. One, the Afghan intelligence, and good luck that Amarullah Saleh, who was an old communist, who was heading the intelligence setup of Afghanistan. And the intelligence service there in Afghanistan is still infested by the old communist diehards. And they have an axe to grind, especially against me as a person, because I was responsible in part for their ouster from Afghanistan, from their ouster from power. Then the Indians have joined up with them, and they also have things to settle with Pakistan. They want to destabilize Pakistan. They're sitting on our back under the shadow of Americans, and they're stabbing Pakistan, an ally, a friend of America. We have been friend not now, but we have been friend right through the days of Cold War, ever since Mr. Dulles, Foster Dulles, he framed the policy of befriending Pakistan. We have been a very loyal friend of America, and we have given huge sacrifices to uphold that friendship. But unfortunately, the Indians would have us put down completely, and they would want Pakistan to be subservient to India. This is not acceptable to people of Pakistan. Now, this is how WikiLeaks has been giving. Of course, there are only 180 reports with regard to Pakistan and my person. 8 times I've been mentioned in this. But I said to the CNN also, for heaven's sake, if you think that a 74-year-old general retired some 18 and a half years ago from the army and left ISI 21 years ago, if he's still responsible for defeating America in Afghanistan, which is inevitable, because America is now, they have to countenance with defeat in Afghanistan. There is no way, and I will speak about it professionally at a later stage if you ask me. So if they are going to record it in history, in the history books, what are the American future generations going to read? That the mightiest power ever in the history of the mankind was defeated with the help of a retired 74-year-old general living in his house, a retired life. I mean, this would be shameful. They would be ashamed of it. Let the future generation not be ashamed. Speak the truth that you have failed. You have failed because your own policymakers have not come up with the recipes that were required. Your own generals would not measure up to the task that was given to them. So why don't you accept the failure rather than rub the blame on somebody else and start finding scapegoats, and those such scapegoats which would not sell in the market? Please, for God's sake, as far as I am concerned, I can tell you my future generation will be proud that he was responsible not only in defeat of one superpower, but in defeat of another superpower also. But that's not the case. I don't want America to be defeated there. I want them to exit Afghanistan gracefully. I don't want them to get involved into a running fight in Afghanistan like they did in Vietnam. Why don't they learn their lesson? And in Vietnam also, it's not too far back in history, General Westmoreland, he was an utter failure. And he was such a big hero. He was being cast in the image of a hero. And he kept on demanding more and more troops. In the end, he had something like 556,000 troops, over 500,000 troops. And what did you do? I mean, they ran out from Vietnam. Why could they not have thought of it earlier on? And similar situation now confronts them in Afghanistan. So it's, from my point of view, being a friend of America, I want that Americans should go out gracefully, leaving behind them a friendly Afghanistan, and it is possible. I can tell you it is doable. It is still doable, but tomorrow it may not be doable. Today it is doable from my point of view. As I assess the situation, it is doable. It is doable that Afghan society is allowed to evolve slowly into a modern society. That is also doable.
General,
the way they are going, I think there will be no option left but to cut and run out of Afghanistan.
General, we just skipped that break, but some stations may have gone to it. We're talking to Lieutenant General Hamid Gul, former head of Pakistani intelligence. And I want to get more into WikiLeaks. I want to go back to the Mumbai attack because you joined us a few years ago, just a few weeks after that tragic event, and you fingered Western intelligence for staging it to stir up enmity between India and Pakistan, and as a pretext to bring U.S. forces covertly into Pakistan. We now know that was the case. I want to show viewers mainstream news here in the United States, including the Chicago Tribune and others, admitting that, quote, the head of that attack was a U.S. agent, and explain to people why they do this. But first, let's get into a basic boil down from your military expertise and expert on the region, what the real policy, what the real objective has been by the United States being used by these globalists inside your country and bordering Afghanistan. A, what are they really doing there? What's their real aims versus their public aims? B, what has really happened in the 8 years of occupation? And C, where all this is going?
Yeah, 9 years of occupation now. 9 years of this dirty war which has been going on for a wrong purpose, at a wrong time, in a wrong place. Now, what is the real? The declared or the stated goal of the war was to disperse Al-Qaeda to catch Osama-bin-Laden. And now, lately, President Obama has come up with a new formulation, and that says that we have to reverse the momentum of Taliban. And who are Taliban? Taliban are resistance fighters. They are the mujahideen of the old. I mean, they are the same people, or their sons and daughters, who fought against the Soviet Union. And they are fighting for the same reason as they were fighting against the Soviet Union at that time. What is that reason? That reason is to protect their way of life. Whatever it is, you may not agree with that way of life, but the point is, as you are jealous of protecting your way of life, they are jealous of protecting their way of life. The other is liberation, because they look upon the Americans and the Allied forces as the occupation forces. And so they want to liberate. They will not settle for anything less than that. So really you are fighting the Afghan nation. Do you want to reverse the momentum of the Afghan nation? Is it achievable? In my opinion, it is not achievable. It is not worth it. It is, first of all, it is not proper. It is not morally correct that you should be trying to state jacket a nation, and as a nation as proud as the Afghans, in certain mold that you have visualized for them. This is immoral, this is incorrect, and it is not achievable. So the real aim, the hidden aim, the latent aim, I have been saying that before also, that was basically for corporate America to install itself in the center of the oil-rich area, the resources of the Caspian Sea basin area, resources of the Middle East, B, to check China from moving into this region. That is the strategic aim. And C, to any new system should not emerge, because they are afraid that their system is a failure, and if any new system based on Islamic principles of egalitarianism, equality, fraternity, and freedom, if these principles are really adopted, then imperial powers will have no place to hide. So, really, this was the third aim. And fourth one, unfortunately, and very unfortunate for America, is to provide a security shield to the state of Israel. And with that, they want to strengthen India. Now imagine a country as big, as powerful, as enlightened as America should be acting to provide security to somebody else.
General Gul.
For what reason?
General Gul, got a break. Back in 70 seconds. Continue.